Hello, everybody. Louise Edington, Cosmic Owl Astrology. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the whole month of September in general, because it's kind of a crazy, crazy month. You may have figured out we have eclipses. Well, we do have eclipses twice a year, but that's not the only reason this month's kind of wild. So I'm just going to talk about it in general and talk about why the big shifts really matter and why I think this month is yet another really pivotal change point. Now, eclipses in general are resets. They are new and full moons on steroids, so to speak. They usually bring bigger events, bigger points of change that ripple out for the months to come. But that's not the only thing that's going on in September. But before I kind of just list a load of stuff and tell you why I think this is huge, I'm going to also pull you a couple of cards at the end. I just wanted to check in with you all. Now, on my week ahead video, I got some quite great. I don't know why people can't just be nice when they comment, but anyway, about they couldn't hear me. They were going sound. And then I got another comment by somebody else saying they could hear me just fine. Well, I've listened to the video on my phone and on my computer, and I hear it just fine. I have a really good mic. It's a Shure mic, which is one of the best. I also do have a very low voice though, and sometimes when I'm feeling a bit tired and burned out, my voice gets lower. So sometimes I think it's the tone. I cannot do a lot about that. Now, if you are having trouble hearing a particular video, check the video itself. You can actually move the sound slider on the video itself, left-hand side of the video on your YouTube. You can increase the volume there, increase the volume on your device, put earbuds in or something. But honestly, I don't know how it can be loud as anything for me and not for you. But this also, just any creator, not just me. If you're having problems you can't hear, to get all like grumpy and stomp your feet and go, oh, I can't hear it, get a new mic or something like that, I say. Anyway, it's just pathetic, to be honest. Why bother, So I'm going to pull three cards because this month is huge, and I'm going to focus in on a couple of things. Of course, I also do my week ahead videos. That's the one. And I do my political videos with Kathy, and I also do new and full moon videos. And I want to get back to doing some more videos now that my book's out in the world. But that's the other thing. Please leave me reviews for series in astrology if you have it. And if you don't have it yet, it's getting rave reviews. Go buy it. It's a really compact read. I kept it concise because I know people get a bit overwhelmed sometimes with very wordy books. All right, so we'll look at the cards at the end, but you saw me just shuffling. So we've got the Scholar. This is from the Witch Oracle deck, which Virgo is very witchy season. The Wonder Hunter, because what were witches? Weren't they the herbalists and they did good work in the world, the healers, and the trailblazer. And I wanted to do a general overall one because it's chaos out there. It feels like we're in the middle of a big tornado, whirlwind of craziness. And really, at this point, where we are in this evolution of our consciousness, well, there's not a lot we can each individually do about the big things that are happening, the changes. We've talked about them a lot. It's all about how you respond to them. I was talking to a good friend this morning, and he was saying he was concerned about if J.D. Vance is president. And I'm going, well, not a lot we can really do about that right now, of course. But, just focus on your Virgo, chop wood, carry water, get work done. So I'll go through those cards at the end, but let me go through what a crazy month it is. So first, we started on the 1st with Saturn moving back into Pisces. So that's one sign change. Then on the 2nd, Mercury moved into its own sign of Virgo, and it's on Pisces Virgo that we've got these eclipses. I'm just going to go through the planetary changes first, actually. Then on the 18th, Mercury whizzed through from the 2nd to the 18th, only 16 days in the sign of Virgo. That's fast. Mercury moves into Libra, another sign change. Then on September the 19th, Venus goes into Virgo. And then on the 22nd, Mars goes into Scorpio and the Sun goes into Libra. So we have 6 planetary sign changes. And that's changing energy. And that is a lot in 1 month. So we've got that. Then we've got the 2 eclipses. The total lunar eclipse on the 7th at 15 Pisces. And then an anaretic degree partial solar eclipse 2 weeks later on the 21st. But that's 2 eclipses. One other thing we have, and I'll go through some other bits that are crazy as well, is that on September the 19th, 2 days before the solar eclipse, we have an occultation of Venus. And occultations are like another eclipse. And so we've had some pretty major eclipses in the past, but really this year there's not many. And this occultation of Venus is 17 days away. It will be visible from Africa, Europe, Western Russia, Canada, Greenland, and Asia. Kind of dips right down over Europe. Now, I have started to really work with them and work with occultations, and they are pretty special and they are change bringers. And this is a lone occultation of Venus this year. So this is kind of insane. But this, remember, we have the solar partial eclipse on the 21st is at 29 Virgo. Well, the occultation of Venus is at 29 Leo. And these are anaretic degrees. These are liminal threshold degrees. This means something big is being left behind, literally eclipsed, and something new is starting. Well, just let me drop it in there that 29 Leo is a certain apparent occupant of the White House. It's his ascendant, 29 Leo. And right now, as I record this, we're all waiting for some press conference he said he's doing. It's not there yet, it's not started. It was supposed to start 15 minutes ago. He always runs late, but, you know. There's a lot of hits on his chart. Kathy and I will be looking at it again, I think, on Friday, because there's all kinds of rumours about, is it Weekend of Bernie's? If you watch the movie, you'll know. And it kind of always makes me chuckle because of Bernie Sanders, my man. So some other big aspects, as well as all these changes, right? This is nuts. September the 3rd, tomorrow. Is that tomorrow? I don't know. What day am I on? Yes, that's tomorrow. Mercury just moved into Virgo, will square Uranus. But that's a really important square because Mercury is kind of higher mind, lower mind in both Mercury's signs, because Uranus is in Gemini, and Uranus stations retrograde on September the 6th. So as Mercury squares Uranus, as Uranus is stationing, I think there's going to be some big shocks, some big shifts. But right between those two things, Mars in the sign of Libra, where he's not supposed to be happiest, squares off to Jupiter. That's another big push of massive action and change. Then we have the eclipse on September the 7th. Then after that, we have a series of aspects where the Sun first conjuncts the South Node, which sits at the same degree through the eclipses. Then the 11th, Mercury does. Then on the 12th, the Sun opposes Centaur Nessus, which is revealer of abuses of power. Then on the 13th, we have Mercury Cazimi, the Sun, in the heart of the Sun at 20 Virgo. That's a moment of clarity. I was actually listening to a great interview with a Vedic astrologer, a Jyotish astrologer, and he gave a slightly different view on when Mercury is combust the Sun, or any planet, within 10 degrees. He said it depends, in Jyotish, it depends on the planet, it depends also how close to the Sun. But he kind of said that when a planet is combust the Sun, that means not conjunct, but under the beams of the Sun, something is being purified and cleansed and got down to the essence. And the moment of the Cazimi is when the clarity appears about what's being purified. I don't know, I've only heard that once, but it felt very true to me. So, here I am, September the 2nd, 11 days out. My God, the news cycle is going to be nuts, but people are going to start seeing clearly. Even if we do have this news report from the apparent leader today, I don't think we're getting the full picture again either. So we'll see. More to come, I think. September the 15th, Mars opposes Eris. Big shake-up, big table shaking. This is discord and discontent in major way. But then the next day, Mars opposes Chiron, which is both the wound that's being revealed, but also the key to healing. And then the 17th, Mercury opposes Saturn right at the end of Virgo to Pisces, because Saturn has just gone into Pisces, and Mercury leaves its own sign and moves into Libra, and then opposes Neptune. And those two are working together towards their big conjunction next February. Then the 19th, we have the occultation of Venus, which is when the moon completely blocks out the view of Venus. Now, if you are, you can find actually you can find the path of it, the times of it. Let me give you the time if I can find it. He still hasn't started his press conference, by the way. The actual time of the occultation is from 3:34 Pacific to 7:26 Pacific. You have to adjust. It's 10:34 p.m. Universal till 2:26 p.m. Universal time. But Venus is morning star right now. Okay, so it's not going to be hugely visible apart from some areas right across the top, but it's big. And that occultation is happening at the 29 Leo, as I said. So that's another big day. But right after the occultation, on the 19th, Venus then changes signs and moves into Virgo, the sign of the witch, which is why I'm using the witch oracle right now. And then Venus squares Uranus. Oh my God, massive change. Uranus just stationed retrograde. This is just, I have a picture somewhere of an owl that was obviously taken over time motion. I'm going to see if I can find it for this. And it's just a spinning head of the owl. That's how it's going to feel this month, I think. 21st, the Sun opposes Saturn, but then Mars enters its own sign of Scorpio, which is a psychic surgeon in many ways. Mars in Scorpio digs deep. It's out damn spot kind of energy. So that's huge. But then on the same day as well, the Sun moves into Libra. Oof, what changes? And the Sun opposes Neptune. Then on the 24th, Mars squares off to Pluto in Aquarius. And we had a Mars opposition to Pluto right before the US election, just saying. I don't think I'm going to say any more than about that. But on that same day as well, Mercury opposes Ceres in Aries. So Mercury in Libra, the sign of justice, opposes Ceres, which is retrograde in Aries, saying it's time to speak out for justice and to, there could be some more court cases or something then too. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a heads up. Why is this important? Because all of those things that I mentioned, all these sign changes, all of these things are aspecting all these really big change makers, the slower moving planets that are changing signs. And by next year, they will all have finally moved into their new signs. But right now, as we move into September, Uranus is about to station retrograde. Saturn has gone back into Pisces. Neptune will be going back into Pisces soon enough. And then Uranus will go back into Taurus. They are kind of finishing up a lot of things. But this change is all really going to be really set this month because of the eclipses, and then it will emerge over the next few months until one by one all those outer planets move into their new signs and we really enter a new paradigm. We do have one more set of eclipses coming before that, but more on that later. I do want to say though, this eclipse cycle is quite weird, okay? And I'll tell you why it's weird. I've just remembered I wanted to read your book. I'll tell you why it's weird, because it's gonna last till 27. We keep having the eclipses in Pisces and Virgo until way after the nodes change signs. So this is, kind of, anyway. So maybe I have to read this on another thing. I wanted to get the Saros cycle. This is a great book, but I can never find the list of Saros cycles, which is kind of weird. I believe this is Saros 9 South, according to Bernadette Brady, who wrote this amazing book, but it rather is a big book. So it's no good. Oh, I was just going to get this little bit. Oh, it's 307. It's an appendix, not in the main bit. Okay. So she kind of has these, there's different numbering systems of eclipses, and I'm not fully au fait with why they're different, the numbers, but this is a Saros South, New South eclipse, okay, coming this year, 2025. And let me read you what she says about this eclipse. This Saros series appears to be concerned with the bringing to the surface of long-term worries about all kinds of issues, health, and people in your life. This could manifest as a worrying piece of news about a loved one or responsibilities with paperwork coming home to roost. And any news will have a sense of destiny about it. I will let you read into that what you may, bearing in mind Donald Trump's chart is lit up like a Christmas tree this week. Kathy and I mentioned some of it, but I'd forgotten about the occultation at that time, so I've added that, right? But right now, Mars is on his Jupiter, and his Jupiter is aspecting, is square transiting Jupiter is square as Jupiter. Venus is conjunct his Pluto. Saturn is quincunx his ascendant as well. All kinds of things going on. Oh my goodness. But let me give you these cards for the week, for the month, because you know that I believe that we can really ride the waves of the energies with awareness, and we can hopefully lean in to this Virgo and kind of witch priestess service, right work, meaningful energy, and be high Virgo to really kind of get to work to create what you want. So 17, the scholar, 91. I always think of Virgo very much as a scholar, right? So that's where we start. So the scholar. She's a scholar of the sacred text of experience. While she has studied books and philosophies, has listened to the masters and wise ones, she has learned that no counsel is as wise as herself. Her main concern is embodying what she knows and put it into practice. Because of this, she chooses her friends wisely and is cautious about what she puts into her mind. Her true authority comes from the wisdom of living, learning, and growing, and always evolving towards her highest self. What is right for another may not be right for you. This is a time to test any advice or direction against your own experience. What does your gut say? When considering your options, what happens to your body? Does your heart expand, your breath deepen, your energy soar, or does your breathing go shallow, your heart shrink, your nervous system tense into a fear-shaped thing? Not a witch understands that knowledge becomes wisdom when it's embodied. Let your own experience and the testament of your body's truth be your guide right now. Great advice for this month. Okay, so on to the next card, which is the Wonder Hunter. These cards are fun, but it's really hard to find the book page. Anyway, so yeah, the Wonder Hunter. It makes me laugh. It's card 42. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. People would get that one. Wonder is the state of our original self. Babies gaze at the world with wide eyes, taking in every marvel. Somehow, as we grow, that sense is overwhelmed by practical concerns and survival skills. By fitting in, by finding a way to conform to the demands of our environment. But the wonder never really leaves. It may go underground for a time, but you can feel it when gazing at the moon, the stars, the micro-universe of a single flower, in all its detail. Wonder is nourishing to the soul and keeps our heart alive and thriving. To live in wonder is to allow ourselves to experience our own belonging to ourselves, to the world itself, and to the great mystery of all things. Now is the time to put practical concerns to one side and allow yourself to marvel. Take a walk in nature. Observe the many tiny miracles. Search the clouds for friendly shapes, or sit by a river and listen to its babbling stories. A witch knows she cannot live by logic or emotion alone. She is aware that the wide world is a never-ending story of surprises and splendors. She trusts that the universe, in its benign generosity, conspires to delight her. So she takes time to open her heart wide to receive blessings, both tiny and great. Mostly this looks like standing in awe, willing to be astonished. As Kafka once said, remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen, simply wait. Be quiet, still, and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has no choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet. And the last card. These are great cards, but this is more kind of advice about kind of how to just kind of stay in your lane through this intensely wild time. Awareness is always key, right? So 87, the trailblazer. This is a pioneering moment. In order to chart where you're going and empower the path making, you must know your place, woman. You must know your place, woman. Only when you know your deservedness and embody your inherent value can you move with confidence and radiance required to create your own path. The witch has shifted for her allegiance from pleasing to pleasure, from subservient to subversive, through the very act of claiming her inner knowing as her highest authority. She's willing to abandon everyone else's expectation and approval before she'll abandon herself. She has stopped fearing her path and started blazing it, loyal to the visions in her head and the longing of her heart. She trusts her intuition to guide her to the next right thing for her, even when she can't see the entire path or explain it to a mind of logic. Stop looking for the footprints of those who have gone before you. Don't settle for how it's been for others. Blaze your own trail. Have a great month. Come back for my weekly forecast. Go to Substack, get my dailies. They might be going away though, because I'm taking to heart those cards. See you later.